With the support of Stanford University, Muybridge set up 50 cameras parallel to the racetrack. The cameras were triggered by tripwires that the horse struck as it ran around the track. This was the birth of what we know today as film.
Charles Francis Jenkins was the first person to project a filmed motion picture onto a screen for an audience. The film was titled Annabelle Butterfly Dance and was the first color hand-tinted film ever projected.
The first special effects were used in the film The Execution of Mary, Queen of Scots.
Les Manoirs du Diable is known as the root of all horror films. It was the first movie to use skeletons, cauldrons, castles, demon figures, and other recognizable objects used in horror films today. Pope Leo XIII was filmed by W.K. Dixon, becoming the first pope and also the earliest born notable person to be filmed. He also blessed the camera.
Méliès became the film industry's first filmmaker to use artificially arranged scenes to construct a narrative story. Cendrillon is an example.
Sherlock Holmes Baffled was the first detective film on record.
Fire was one of the first films to meaningfully combine indoor studio scenes with outdoor shots.
Le Voyage dans la Lune, or A Trip to the Moon, was written and directed by Georges Méliès. It is the first known science fiction film. It uses innovative animation and special effects, including the well-known image of the spaceship landing in the moon's eye.
The Great Train Robbery was the first film to use modern film techniques like multiple camera positions, filming out of sequence, and post-editing.
The Impossible Voyage was released with a runtime of about 24 minutes, about 5 times the length of an average film at that time. It is loosely based on Jules Verne's play Voyage à travers l'impossible.
Rescued by Rover was the earliest cinematic canine feature.
Humorous Phases of Funny Faces is the earliest surviving example of an animated film. It uses stop motion as well as stick puppetry to produce a series of effects. It features a cartoonist drawing faces of people on a chalkboard, and the people move from one pose to another.
The Assassination of the Duc de Guise was the first film which had a completely original film score specifically composed for the film.
The Patchwork Girl of Oz was written and produced by L. Frank Baum and directed by J. Farrell McDonald. It makes almost no use of the dialogue from the book in the intertitles. While there are a number of modest special effects, the movie relies largely on dancing, slapstick, and costuming.
Chaplin's second movie, Kid Auto Races at Venice, was his first as the Tramp.
The Sinking of the Lusitania is an animated short film by Winsor McCay. It is a recreation of the sinking of the RMS Lusitania. It was the first film made using cell technology. McCay and his assistants spent 2 years making 25,000 drawings for the 12-minute short.
The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari is one of the most influential of the German Expressionist films, and is often considered one of the greatest horror movies of the silent era.
The Hollywood sign was first erected in 1923 and originally read Hollywoodland. Its purpose was to advertise the name of a new housing development. Eventually, when the sign began to deteriorate, the Hollywood Chamber of Commerce negotiated to have the sign just read Hollywood.
Alice's Wonderland was one of Walt Disney's famous Alice comedies, and had a working title of Alice in Slumberland. The film was never shown theatrically, but was instead shown to prospective film distributors.
The Gold Rush was the 5th highest grossing silent film in cinema history, taking in more than $4,250,000 at the box office in 1926. Chaplin proclaimed at the time of its release that this was the film for which he wanted to be remembered.
The Lost World was the first feature-length, dinosaur-oriented science fiction film.
The Black Pirate was the first full-length blockbuster color film. It was filmed in black and white but used Technicolor.
The Lodger was Hitchcock's third film. This was the first film that survived in its entirety and that showcases Hitchcock's trademark cameo appearances.
It was the first U.S. feature film to use a zoom lens.
Dinner Time by Paul Terry was the first all-talking cartoon short that had synchronized sound. In that same year, Steamboat Willie was released under Disney Productions, debuting Mickey Mouse and his girlfriend Minnie.
White Shadows in the South was the first appearance of MGM's logo and mascot Leo the Lion roaring during opening credits.
Alleluia was the first sound-era, all-black cast produced by a major studio.
The Carnival Kid was the Walt Disney Production Studio short in which Mickey Mouse spoke his first words, hot dogs. Walt Disney's voice was used for the voice of Mickey.
His Glorious Night was John Gilbert's transition from silent to talking films.
You wouldn't be so cruel.
Dizzy Dishes was the birth of Betty Boop, appearing as a long-eared puppy.
Yet it was that manner of hers that... very attractive, I thought. I wonder what her feelings are now.
Grand Hotel was the first all-star epic.
The Band Concert was the first Mickey Mouse film produced in color and remains one of the most highly acclaimed of all Disney shorts.
Many pencil drawings were made in order to obtain realistic and lifelike animation of the effects we needed. For the first time, we would test the new multiplane camera, designed to give a dimensional quality and a feeling of space within our animated scenes. This silly symphony not only proved invaluable as an experiment, but was also quite a success in its own right. For the Old Mill went on to win the Academy Award for the year 1937.
Hi-ho! 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 It's home from work we go. Hi-ho! 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 It's home from work we go. Hi-ho! Hi-ho!
Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was the first full-length animated feature film.
Hi-ho! 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 Hi-ho!
And finally, 1939 is known as the greatest year in film history because of the release of the films like Hunchback of Notre Dame, Ninotchka, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, Stagecoach. Wuthering Heights.
Off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. We hear he is the Wizard of Wiz, if ever a Wiz there was. If ever or ever a Wiz there was, the Wizard of Oz is one because of the wonderful things he does. We're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz.
The Wizard of Oz and Gone with the Wind.